Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So this video is a cheer to developers on video. WB Games Montreal, in my opinion, needs to step up big time. I mentioned this in my past videos, but I believe that there's still one more thing that they can add to this in order to pretty much fortify their fan base, send a signal that they're here to make games for us, and also send a signal to the other development studios that they actually really want to show their prowess as a huge, big-time development firm. They've done a lot of work. They worked on Arkham Knights. They did their own game, Arkham Origins, which was a spin-off to kind of give Rocksteady the time they needed to complete the Arkham Knight, game itself. And they're a very respected studio. But they have two IPs that DC fans are quite interested in. One, a Batman-themed IP, which is Gotham Knights. They've shown that to us. They've promised that it's going to be coming out in 2022. And the rumors of a Superman game. This Superman rumors, nonetheless, actually started a long time ago. I think IGN's Daily Fix basically spoke about this rumor somewhere around 2015 or so. And this was where the talk started, where they were saying, it seems like WB Games Montreal may be working on a Superman game. In fact, another set of rumors broke out somewhere around the Game Awards season of maybe 2018, 2019, where people kind of thought that it was Rocksteady working on the Superman game, only for the Rocksteady people to say, we're not doing this. Now, I think with the reveal of Gotham Knights, I think with the way the gaming industry is changing, WB Games Montreal needs to reveal their Superman game if they're working on it. And I remember I said if, but I think the evidence and the case right now is a lot strong for that Superman game. There have been a lot of things that have been building up towards this, and I'll go ahead and share them in this video. So first of all, let's look at the gaming industry and the gaming scene in the past few years. So right now, one of the top studios in superhero games, they just basically made their way there because no one challenged them along the line, is Insomniac. You can't doubt it. You can't deny it. Insomniac was basically this sleeping giant that we didn't necessarily think would pretty much come in and top everybody. If, basically in a very short period of time too, and do it in a very, very clean and a very, in a way that actually they do merit as a studio. Now, I was having a conversation with one of our audience members, and by the way, I really love our conversations and comments here. And, he said Insomniac is really not that big of a deal. This audience member basically said, I don't know if it's a he or, or a she or whoever. And, they just said, I don't think Insomniac's really a big deal. And I said, what's funny is I don't think that estimation is actually fair to them as a studio. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the timeline within which they were able to actually evaluate and pretty much deliver their games, reveal their games, and establish themselves as a superhero game developer, it's a shorter time frame than the time period that we had to wait in between Arkham Knight and the reveal of Gotham Knights. So think about it. Gotham Knights was a 2015 game. We got the word that, Gotham Knights was probably in development. We didn't even know what the name was. Somewhere around 2019 or January of, somewhere around 2019, we started to get more wind of WB Games project. They kept it under wraps for the longest time. Now, in all of this, Insomniac had released their very first Spider-Man game. This was Marvel Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. This was a very, very interesting release because a lot of the Spider-Man fans and the superhero community, they appreciated this game. And by the way, I'm not really a huge Spider-Man fan. The Spider-Man fans are actually in my family, my children. And so I have to buy every Spider-Man game according to them. So this is why we talk about Spider-Man in my house, and this is why we have Spider-Man all over the place. But I can also appreciate and respect what that development team has been able to achieve in such a short period of time. Not long after that, they were able to bring out the Miles Morales game that was already ready for the new consoles. They basically had this game set, ready to go for the PS5s, and people who owned that console were able to play a next-gen version of a Spider-Man game. They also did have the remaster of that Spider-Man game. Now, I don't think I can count the remaster as a whole new game, but I would say that their Marvel Spider-Man game and Miles Morales game is basically, two products or two projects that they put together, and they put them together in the space of 2 years. Now, I get it. Planning, all of the different things involved have probably been going on for a very long time, but the fact that they were able to deliver two games in 2 years is a huge deal, in my opinion. Now, keep in mind that from 2015 to 2017, the Batman audience had basically gotten nothing from the Warner Brothers studios, while in a 2-year time frame, Insomniac is already dropping 2 games. Now it's already 2020. And, Insomniac is basically flexing with their Marvel's, Spider-Man Miles Morales game. And then now here we are in 2021. They've already revealed 2 more games, a sequel to the Marvel Spider-Man game and a Wolverine game. Keep in mind, in this same period, all this while, what we've had from 2 Warner Brothers Games studios that work on superhero games is just 2 titles: Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is supposedly set for 2022, as well as the Gotham Knights game itself, which also got a delay. Now, here are a few things that I believe strongly that Warner Brothers probably should have done or could have done better, or allowed for their developers to do in order to keep their fans, happy and excited. I think they should have taken the approach of a marketing or a reveal strategy to be able to inform their fans on what projects they're working on. You see, Insomniac is not afraid to do this. They already just told you that they're going to get you a Spider-Man game in like the next 2.5 years. Okay? Now, if say Warner Brothers Games Montreal is working on a Superman game that's more than likely going to come out in a few years, don't you think it makes sense for them to at least do a reveal and say, hey, we're working on this title at this time? I think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think the window actually does make sense. Now, even if they don't have a date for you, it's okay to also do a reveal, like the Wolverine game. There is no perceived date. There's no announced date. We just know that it's a game in the works. I think this probably will be enough to advertise that they're working on a Superman game, if that is truly the case. Now, why am I really harping on this Superman thing? You see, the rumors were building for the longest time, and even one of the senior designers at Warner Brothers Games Montreal, Osama Dorias, he was on a podcast called the Humans of Gaming podcast, and he mentioned that Warner Brothers Games Montreal was working on 2 superhero games, and he actually hinted that one of the superheroes was one of his favorite childhood characters from when he was a kid. Now, this caused me to be super curious, and so I actually, follow him on Instagram. And on looking at some of his pictures from around that time period, he had a picture of him with a portrait of Superman on the wall, and he seemed really excited. Now, to me, the way he kind of took that picture, I thought to myself, this gentleman is a Superman fan. I don't doubt that they're probably going to be working on a Superman game. But then at that time, there were just all these rumors and a lot of different weird leaks and informationals that kind of caused and cast doubt to that hypothesis. Because remember, we also got that rumor that Rocksteady was working on this Superman game, blah, blah, blah. But that turned out to not be true. So in my mind, I gave it a rest. Not until was I doing some more research that I found out that IGN had actually whispered this years ago, even years before we had any rumors of this Gotham Knights game. And so I genuinely think right now in my mind that they're working on a Superman game. And at this point, if they've been working on that game since, say, somewhere around 2015, 2016, maybe even earlier, at least they have the ability to show us a very small snippet, just as long as that Wolverine type snippet of what this Superman game is going to look like. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the time to shroud things that don't need to be shrouded in random mystery. And I say that because, again, the gaming industry is transforming. If you look at what happened with Square Enix, they pretty much, in my opinion, just took the wrong step. And I think an early reveal can actually help you figure out what it is your fans want to see. But, Superman game is not really rocket science as to what fans want. They just want a story. They want Superman to be able to have weaknesses. And they want a compelling, canon or, story arc that would really work. And I think these are some of the things people are going to be, basically hypothesizing, talking about, and it's really going to provide a lot of excitement. So all of the time of mystery, in my opinion, has passed. The way we saw 2020 go down, I believe right now there's just a new and a huge shift as to how things are going. Also, think about the way a lot of these companies that own the different IPs are behaving. They're starting to give a lot more leeway to more studios to do the work. And this is specifically Marvel. I think Marvel is coming after DC in the gaming world. If you think about it, in the cinematic, Marvel has basically destroyed DC and eaten their lunch. I think the only thing holding DC right now is some of the animated stuff, which is really solid. But don't think Marvel is sleeping on the opportunity to just make DC irrelevant. And if DC development companies and marketing teams don't do anything about it, very soon they're just going to be pretty much just done, if you were to ask me. So these are my opinions and my thoughts. I don't mean to be a bearer of bad news, but I just wanted to say, let's cheer the developers on and let them understand there's a little bit of fire that's just burning right now on their derrieres, and they need to really move it and get the information out there and position themselves as a strong development team. Not saying they're not a good development team. I just think there's so much red tape that's probably, working behind the scenes, but that's something that their studio heads can push through, and pretty much get things out to the audiences. But we can continue this conversation later. This video has basically spanned way longer than I wanted it to span. I appreciate you guys so much for listening. Thanks so much. You guys are amazing. And I'll talk to you guys in another video. Peace out.